Good morning. This is Sunanda, Assistant Professor from G. Pullareddy Engineering College. Today I will be dealing with Python loops. So coming to the loops, what is the main usage of the loops? So normally in programming language, so every statement will be executed in a sequential manner. So the statements in a program or the instructions in a program are executed sequentially. So either the compiler or the interpreter does not involve in making the decisions. So they just follow the set of the instructions which we have given in a program, and execution will be done in a line by line fashion. So the first statement in a program is executed first, followed by the second, and so on. Like that, the program's statements will be executed in a sequential manner. So there might be some situations where you need to execute a block of code several number of times. So if you want to repeatedly execute some set of statements continuously, then we will be using the loops. Programming languages provide various control structures that allows us for more complicated execution paths. So the loop statement allows us to execute a statement or a group of statements multiple times. So the following diagram will shows or will illustrate how the loop will be executed. So for example, if I take some condition here, so based upon this condition, the set of the statements will be executed. These set of statements will be executed until this condition is true. If it is false, these set of statements will not be executed, then we will come out of the loop. So here the decision of these statement executions will depend on this condition. So the repetition of the code, that means how many times this conditional code has to be executed, will mainly depend on this condition. So if you want to execute a set of statements based upon some condition repeatedly, then that condition is mentioned here. If the condition is true, the statements will be executed. So here you can mention how many times this particular conditional code has to be executed. If the condition is false, then automatically we will exit, and the statements, this conditional code will not be executed at all. So based upon this condition only, the conditional code execution will depend. Here, the loops mainly help us if you want to execute some set of statements repeatedly based upon specific condition. Right? So here in Python, we mainly come across two types of the loops, while loop and the for loop. Here in Python, we don't have any do while. So do while is not available in Python. We have only while as well as a for. And if you want to have a nested loop, then we can go for nesting a while loop in a for loop, or for loop in a while loop, or we can nest one while loop in the same while loop, or we can nest for loop in the another for loop. So the nesting is possible, but do while is not possible in Python. So while, for, and nested loops. So there might be some difference between while, for. So what is the while loop is meant for? So it is mainly meant for repeating set or a group of statements while a given condition is true. So whenever the condition is true, a group of statements will be executed. So here we will be using some condition, and based upon that condition only, a set of statements will be executed. If the test, if the particular condition is not true, then the statements will not be executed at all. Right? So here the condition will be tested before execution of the loop body. So here while will be treated as entry control loop. Entry control loop. So here whenever you want to execute a single statement in the while loop also, first it will check with the condition. If the condition is true, then only it goes to the block of the statements available in the while loop. If the condition is false, it won't even execute at least one time. So the body will be ignored. So the execution will be stopped and the control comes out of the loop. Right? So coming to the for loop, here we will be having a sequence of statements executed. So multiple times, and here what the main usage of the for loop here is, so we will be having some initialization, and we will be having some condition checking, and we will be having some increment and decrement within the loop itself. Executes a sequence of statements multiple times and abbreviates a code that manages the loop variable. Here the loop variable is nothing but iteration variable. So whose initialization as well as condition checking will be done in the loop before going into the loop statements. So first variable will be initialized and then it will be checked with the condition. If the condition is true, then it enters into the loop. If the condition is false, it comes out of the loop. Right? As coming to the nested loops, so it is nothing but you can use one or more loops inside any other while or for loop. So either there might be the combination of while and for, or there might be two or more while loops, or there might be two or more for loops. Right? So this is regarding the loops introduction. So coming to the while loop, so there might be some syntax difference between the C, Python languages. So whenever you are using the while for in the C, so we might be using some while. So while condition we might be using, right? So condition and the set of the statements we will be writing. So in C, so this is a syntax, but in Python it has some syntax variation. So here the while loop statement in Python programming language repeatedly executes the target statement as long as the condition is true. So while here we will be writing the expression. So the expression may be the condition. If you want, you can even specify the expression, and based upon the evaluation of the expression, whatever the output you get, based upon that, this set of the statements will be executed. Right? So the expression is maybe mathematical expression or maybe some relational expression where it will be checked with the true or false. If it is true, if it is evaluated to the Boolean value true, then the set of the statements will be executed. Here, whenever you are writing the while loop in Python, so we have to use a keyword while and then followed by condition or expression, and then you have to use this colon compulsory. And then you have to follow some indentation and you have to mention the statements below. So the following indented statements, if you have one statement, then you can mention that statement after the colon itself. If you have multiple statements following the same indentation, then you have to write all the statements in one line. That means you have to follow the same indentation for all the statements that are within this particular while loop. So if you have a single statement, then you can write it after the colon itself. If you have multiple statements, then following the indentation, you have to mention all the statements in the same line. So here the expression will be separated from the set of the statements using this colon. So the colon will be treated as a delimiter between this header and between this suit. This is a header where we will be having the keyword while, and then we will be having the expression, and then this colon will mainly help us to separate the header from the suit. So here in Python, we will be calling a set of the statements as a suit but not as a block. So as a set of the statements within these braces in the C, we used to call them as a block of statements. in Python, we will be calling them as a suit, but not as a block. The statements may be a single statement or a block of statements with uniform indent. That means each and every statement should follow the same indentation. So this mainly helps the interpreter to come to know what are all the statements belongs to the while and what are all the statements that doesn't belongs to the while. Right? So the segregation between the statements belonging to the while, not belonging to the while, will be done using this indentation only. The condition may be any expression or true is any non-zero value. So it may be any expression or any condition which will be evaluated to the Boolean true. The loop iterates while the condition is true. So if the condition is false, then the loop will be exited. Right? So here, this is the flow chart for the while. So while expression set of the statements. The first, the condition. This expression may be treated as an condition. If the condition is true, then the conditional code, that means a suit of the statements, will be executed. If the condition is false, then it comes and it will be exit. Right? So here these conditional code will be set of the statements that will be repeatedly executed until this condition is true. So until this condition is true, until this condition becomes false, this set of the statements will be repeatedly executed. If the condition is false, then it comes out of the loop. Unless the condition becomes false, up to that, the statements will be executed repeatedly. If the condition becomes false, in such case, it won't go into the loop, it comes out of the loop and it will exit. So if there are any other statements below the suit of the while, then those statements will be executed. So whenever you are mentioning the statements below the while, that means if the condition is false, then if you want to execute some set of the statements, those statements you have to write where the while has been started. So here the while has started, the same unique line you have to write the statement which you want to execute when the condition in the while is false. Right? So this is a simple example which will mainly display the count value. So here I am taking a variable count equal to 0 and then I am checking with the condition count less than 5. Until this condition is false, this statement will be executed. Here I have mainly two statements as a suit for the while. So this first count will be initialized with the 0 and it will check with the condition 0 less than 5. Condition is true, so entering into the loop. Now in the loop the first statement is the count is. So it will print the count is 0 will be printed. Next, the value of the count will be incremented. So now count value will become as a 1. Right? Again, after incrementing it, go back, it will check with the condition. So now 1 is less than 5. The condition is true. So entering into the loop, so it will print the count is 1 and now it will be incremented. So now the count value will become the 2. So 2 less than 5, the condition is true. So it goes back and then it will, as the condition is true, so entered into the suit, the count is 2 will be printed. Now within the suit, the next statement is count equal to count plus 1. So here we will be getting C equal to 3. Count equal to 3. So the count, again it checks with the condition 3 less than 5, condition is true, so it enters into the loop. The first statement in the loop is printing the count value, so it will print the count is 3. Now the count value is incremented again, so the count will become the 4 now. So 4 will be checked with the condition 4 less than 5. So as the condition is true, so it goes and entering into the loop. The first statement it will print as count is 4. And now it goes to the second statement where count value will become as a 5. So as again it will check with the condition count less than 5, 5 less than 5. Now the condition is false, so it comes out of the loop. So what is the last statement in the loop? Count equal to count plus 1. So after that, is there any statement available? Yes, there is a statement called print goodbye. So it goes to that statement which is outside of the loop. So it will print now goodbye. Right? So this is how the execution will be repeated. So unless the condition is true, the statements will be executed. If the condition becomes false, then it comes out of the loop. Right? So this is a simple example that explains the while loop. Here, whenever you are using the while in Python, as we don't have increment and decrement operators, we are using this operator plus augmented increment, or else we can directly say count equal to count plus 2 plus 3 plus 1. So like this we have to write. So we should not use increment and decrement. So in the while, whenever you are using the while loop, first we will be having the initialization part. Initialization, that means variable initialization, and then we will be having the while, and here we will be checking with the condition which will involve the initialized variable, and we will be having some set of the statements. So within this particular suit, here we will be having the increment of this particular variable. So initialized variable will be incremented. So that may be either plus 1 or plus 2, whatever, how many times you want to increment, you can perform the increment. Right? So but we should not use plus plus and minus minus. So for that only we have to use, if you want to increment 1 time, plus 1. If you want to increment 2 times, plus 2. If you want 3 times, then plus 3, like that, so on. You can write how many times you want to increment, you can mention that number. Right? So coming to might not ever run. So that means there might be some situations where the while suit might not run even once also. Right? So here what happens? So whenever the condition which we have taken is false all the time, then the suit of the while will not execute at least once also. So here the key point of the while is that the loop might not ever run. So that means there might be some possibility where the condition is false all the time. So that's why whenever you are writing some condition in the while, you have to be careful. So you have to take care that at least once the statements or the suit of the while should be executed. Right? When the condition is tested and the result is false, the loop body will be skipped and the first statement after the while will be executed. So here I have taken a variable var equal to 0. And now I am checking with the condition while var equal to 1. That means 0 equal to 1. It won't happen any time. Right? So here 0 will not be equal to 1. Is not equal to 1. That's why this particular print var will not be executed at least once. It might not run at all. Right? So it comes out of this particular loop statements, and what is the statement outside of the loop? This is not possible, will be printed. So this will happen only when you write a condition which is not suitable with this initialization. So it should mainly depend on the initialized variable. So the condition should almost satisfy with the initialized variable. So if it is not satisfied at least once, then the loop statements will not be executed at all. So it comes out of the loop and the statements below it will be executed. Right? So next is the infinite loop. So here the problem is whenever the condition you are mentioning, we have to take care that it should not be false all the time and it should not be true all the time. So you should satisfy some condition, and based upon that n number of times, that means finite number of times, the statements in the loop has to be executed. There might be possible the condition will go on true all the time. This mainly results in infinite loop. So the loop becomes infinite if the condition never becomes true. So in the above slide, we have seen that this has never become true. So the condition never become true. Here the condition never become false. So that is the only difference. So in these two cases it is a problem. So while writing the condition in the while, we have to take care, right? So infinite loop might be useful in client server programming, where the server needs to run continuously so that the client program can communicate with it as and when required, right? So the loop example for this is, here I have taken var equal to 1. I am checking with the condition var equal to 1. It is true all the time. So this condition will not become false at all. So that's why the hello will be printed. It goes on printing infinite number of times, right? So in order to interrupt this particular infinite loop, we can use Control C from our keyboard, right? So Control C at a time, when you press, automatically the infinite loop will be exited, right? So this is a main drawback. Whenever you are writing the while loop, you have to be careful that the condition should not be false all the time and it should not be true all the time. So it has to satisfy at least some conditions, and based upon that you have to write that condition or expression, right? So single statement suit, that means if I have only one statement in the loop, instead of having multiple statements, there might be some situations where you want to repeat a single statement multiple times. So in such case, you will be writing that statement after the colon itself, right? So no need of following the indentation. You can write that single statement after the colon. So here I have considered one variable flag equal to 1. Now I am writing while flag. So here while flag, that means whenever you mention the variable name, that indicates it will be taking the 1 and it will be checking with the condition 1 again. So 1 equal to 1, it is true. So this will go for the infinite loop. So that's why you have to again press Ctrl C. So here you have to keep in mind that whenever there is only one single statement in a suit, then in such a case you have to just mention that statement after the colon. So while condition colon, you can write that statement here itself, right? And next, using else statement with the loops. So in C, we don't have an else part for the while. For the while, do while, as well as for loops. That means for the loops, we don't have any else part in C. But in Python, there is a possibility of using the else part along with the loops. So if you want some statements to be executed, if the condition in the loop is false, then in such case, you can mention those statements in the else part. Python supports having an else statement associated with the loop statement. If the else statement is used with the while loop, then the else statement is executed when the condition is false. So coming to a simple example which will illustrate the combination of an else statement with the while statement that prints a number as long as it is less than 5, otherwise the else statement gets executed. The same program which we have seen earlier. Count equal to 0, while count less than 5, the statement count is less than 5 will be executed and the count will be incremented. After that, it goes check with the condition again. Next, it will again execute this statement. Again, it will increment. Now, the count value will be, first it will be 0. So, less than 5, the statement will be true, condition is true, the statements in the loop will be executed. Now count will become 1, it is less than 5, so the condition is true. Again the statements will be executed. Again it will print count is less than 5. Now count value will be 2, 2 less than 5, condition is true. Again it will execute the statement count is less than 5 will be printed. Now count value will be 3 less than 5, so it will print 3 is less than 5 statement will be printed. Now the count value will be 4 less than 5, the condition is true, so again it checks with the condition. So the condition is true, count 4 is less than 5 will be printed. Now C will be the 5 less than 5, condition is false. So what happens now? So after the condition is false, it comes out of the loop. So what is the statement outside of the loop? Else part is there. So it will print count is not less than 5. That means 5 is not less than 5 will be printed. And after that, there are any other statements beyond these statements after the else, then those statement will be executed. That is goodbye will be printed. So this is the use of else. If you want to execute some set of statements when the condition is false, then in such case you can use the else pattern. So the same syntax. So while condition colon suit will be whatever the suit you want to execute, you can mention here, and after that wherever the W is starting in the while, in the same line else should be written, and after that you have to mention the colon for the else. So if it is only one statement, you can write after the colon itself. If you have multiple statements, then you can follow the indentation and you can write those statements. Right? So coming to the next loop, for loop. So the for loop in Python has the ability to iterate over the items of sequence such as a list or a string. So if you want to deal with a list of elements or within the string character by character, if you want to deal, then in such case you can go using the for loop. So the syntax is you have to use for keyword, next iterating variable, in keyword, and then sequence. As we don't have the increment and decrement operators here, excuse me, here we will be using in sequence, right? So in membership operator will be used, and then it will check whether the particular iterating variable is in a sequence or not. If it is within a sequence, if it is a member of a sequence, these suits will be executed. If it is not a member, then it comes out of the loop. The sequence contains an expression list. It is evaluated first. Then the first item in the sequence is assigned to the iteration variable iterating underscore var. Next, the statement block will be executed. Each time in the list is assigned to the iterating variable, and the statement block is executed until the entire sequence is exhausted. That means until the sequence is completed, the set of the statements, whatever the variable item within that particular sequence we have, it will be assigned to the iterating variable, and it will be checked with the condition whether it is a member of a sequence or not. If it is a member, then the statements will be executed. If it is not a member beyond the sequence, then it comes out of the loop, right? This is a flow chart for the for loop. So for in iterating variable in sequence, these are the set of the statements we have. So item from the sequence, it will be compared to the iterating variable. If it is, then the loop statements will be executed. If it is not in a sequence, it comes and it will exit. It will exit from the loop, right? So here we will be having initialization and checking with the member of a sequence or not will be done in the loop statement itself, right? So here the simple example I have considered for letter. This is a sequence, that means a string I have considered here. First, what happens here is the Python interpreter will take the iterating variable as letter and it will initialize with the P character, right? So if it is letter equal to P, condition is true, and it will check with P in Python. Yes, it is a member of the Python, so it will print hello. Next letter will be assigned with y. Y is a member of Python, condition is true, it will print hello. Next, again letter will be initialized to t, it will print hello. Next letter will be initialized with h, h is a member of Python, so again it is printing hello. Next letter equal to h, h is a member of Python, so h is already checked, so now it will check with the o. O is a member of Python, so it will print hello. Next letter equal to n, n is a member of Python, right? So that means n is a part of a Python, so the condition is true, so it will print hello here. Now letter all the characters in Python has been completed, so now the letter will be initialized with null value. So the null is not available in Python, so it comes out of the loop, so it will print hello. So how many characters we have in Python? 6 characters, so it has printed hello 6 times. Like this we can mention the loop using the for, right? So here this is a simple example using the list, for using the list. So whenever you have a list, right, so we will be checking with the membership, as well as there is a possibility of using a function called as a range function. Okay, so let us see. First I have taken a list L equal to 11, 22, 33, 44, 55. The main aim of my is I want to perform addition of the values that are available in a list. So here I want to perform 11 plus 22 plus 33 plus 44 plus 55, and I want to print the sum. So that's why I have considered a variable called as sum equal to 0. Initially I am checking with the condition for I in L. So that means I will be initialized with 11. 11 is a member of L. Condition is true. So now sum plus equal to I. That means sum equal to sum plus I. This is an augmented assignment. So when we have like this, this is the output of this particular statement. So we will be getting 0 plus 11. So the value will be 11. This is an updated sum value. Now again it goes back here. After this it goes back. I in L, that indicates I will be initialized with 22 now. So now again 22 is a member of L. So it is available in L at the index. So we will be having index for L value list. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 22 will be initialized with the I. So it is a member of the list. So now what happens? The condition is true. Sum plus equal to I. So sum equal to sum plus I. Sum value, what is updated? Sum 11 plus 22. So I'll be getting 33 now. So again this is an updated sum value. Now I will be initialized with 33. So it is a member of the list, so it is available at the index 2. So now the sum value will be sum equal to sum, updated sum is 33 plus I value is 33. I'll be getting 66. So this is my updated sum. Now I will be initialized with the 44, which is a member of L list. So now the condition is true. So I will be getting sum equal to sum plus, what is updated sum? 66 plus 44. So I will be getting 110, right? So now this is an updated sum value. Now I value will become as 55, which is a member of the list L. So now sum value will become as 110 plus 55, that is 165 will be the last output which I get, which will be stored in the sum. Now I value will become, so is there any other value in the L? no values. So I value will not be initialized to any value of the L. So it comes out of the loop. And what is the statement I have below the loop? Print sum. So it will print 165 as a output. Right? So this is how the execution of the loop, for loop using the list. So let us see the same program, but instead of taking L, what I have considered range function. So here range function, the syntax of it is range of start comma end comma 1. That means step. So here each default value for the start will be 0. Default value for end will be last value minus 1, and default value for step is 1. Right? So here what I have mentioned, for I in range of, len is a function which will give the output as the length. Output as length of the list. So how many values I have in the list? How many values I have in the list? 5 values. So here len of L will be 5. So if I mention a range of 5, that means it starts with a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So last value. So there is a possibility of omitting this start as well as a step. So we can only mention the end value. If I mention the end value as a 5, so what is the default start? 0. What is the end value? That means 5 minus 1, 4, up to 4 it goes. Step indicates the increment. How many times it is been incrementing? Default increment is 1. So 0 plus 1, 1 plus 1, 2 plus 1, 3 plus 1, up to 4 it goes. So now what it do is, initially we will be taking here the sum 2 as a variable for calculating the sum. So here it is equal to the 0. So I in range of, what is the range I have taken? 5. len of L is 5. So length of this particular list is 5. So the range of 5. So here I got range of 5. That means I value first it will initialize it with the 0. 0 in range. So range of 5 indicates it will start with the 0, go up to the 4. So initially I will be the 0. 0 within this particular range? Yes, it is in the range. So the condition is true. So it comes here. Now what I am doing? Sum 2 equal to sum 2 plus L of I. So that means as I am considering here the index values, so here I am taking the slice. Okay, at the specific index, what is the value I have in the list? That is, I am mentioning using L of I. Right? So sum 2 plus L of I. What is the sum 2 I have? 2, 0 plus L of 0 I have 11. So what is the value I got? 11. This is an updated sum. Right? So updated sum I have. Right? So next what I will be doing is, so I got I value as 0. The sum I got is 11. Next I value will be incremented. Now 0 plus 1 it goes to the 1. This is my updated I value. Right? So in this updated I value, so I will be considering I as 1. Right? So for I in range of len of L. So that means 1 in this particular range it is available. So the condition is true. So entering into the loop. So sum plus L of I. Now L of I indicates L of 1. So what is updated sum I have? 11 plus L of 1. What is the value I have at the first index? 22. So it will print 33. Next it goes with second index. This will be the I. Now this will be the I. Now this will be the I. After this, is there any other value at the fifth index? No. So it is outside of the range. So it comes out of the loop. It will print the sum as 165. Right? So this is one type of writing the for loop. So either you can mention the L itself or you can use the range function. Right? The same program here, instead of mentioning L of I directly mentioned I. So now what it is taking? Is it taking the values of L? No, it is considering the values as index. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So first I value will be 0. Right? So 0 in range of len of L. Condition is true. That means 0 is within this range itself. Sum 1 plus equal to what I have taken? I, not L of I. I have just considered I. So what it do? Sum 1 equal to sum 1 plus I. 0 plus 0. It will be 0. Now I value will be the 1. 1 in this particular range, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So within this range only it is available. So now we will be getting sum 1 equal to updated 0 plus what is I value? I got 1. So this is updated sum. Now I will be getting I equal to 2. Now sum 1 will be equal to sum 1 equal to 1 plus 2, that is 3. This is an updated sum. Next 3, I equal to 3, condition is true. So sum 1 value will be sum 1 plus what is I value? I got 3. So 3 plus 3, 6. Condition I equal to 4, condition is true. So I will be getting sum 1 equal to, this is updated, 6 plus 4 I got 10. Right? So now I equal to 5. Is it within this particular range? Last index value is 4, but here it has got 5. So the condition is false, come out of the loop. So what is the statement I have? Print sum 1. So I got the output as 10. Right? So this is how you can use a for loop. So using the string you can use like this. Using the list you can go either the way. So here as a member you will be checking the I value. Here I will be considered as an index value. So here also I will be considered as index value. Here I am taking L of I. That means at the specific index what is the value in the list I am taking. But here I am considering only the index. So that is the only difference in these three programs. Right? So the range function will be having begin, end and step. Why we are using the ranges? As we don't have increment decrement operator. So normally we used to have a syntax like for I equal to some initialization, right? So I equal to initialization and semicolon, I condition, I'll be using some condition here. Next I'll be having increment or decrement. So this is what we have in C. But here as it is not available here, so initialization part and everything will be done using the range function itself. I is a iterating variable. In a range we will be using the membership operator in. So range of, I will be using some, either I can go using all these or I can just use the end part itself. So initially it will be initialized with the default. The default begin value will be 0. Default end value is end minus 1. Default step is 1. So as these has having the default values, you can omit these two, begin and step. You can just mention the end part. Right? This is the use of the range. So as we don't have the increment decrement, we are using the range along with the membership operator. So as I mentioned, range of 5, here the starting default value. So internally what it do is the interpreter will modify it as range, default of begin is 0, end is 5 minus 1. So up to that it goes iterating. And what is the step I have? 1 default value. So this is internally it will consider. So 0, 5, 1, that is what internally it consider. So here I have taken fruits, banana, apple, mango. So this is a string list. So having all the items as a strings, so I am considering it as a string list for index in range of len of fruits. So len of fruits 1, 2, 3, 3 items I have. So the len of fruits will be 3. So what is the range? Range will be range of 3, right? So it will start with the 0, 1, 2. So 0th index I have banana, first index I have apple, and at the second index I have the mango. So in the list, in the strings, in the tuples, we will be having the index values. These are all the sequence data types in Python. So the index values will start with the 0 and it goes on up to length of that minus 1. So if I have the 3 items in the list, last index will be 2. If I have 5 items in a tuple, last index will be the 4. So if I have 7 characters in a string, the last character will be at the index 6, like that. So every time whatever the length we have, either in the list, in the strings, in the tuples, the length minus 1 will be the last index, right? So range len of fruits, that means len of fruits is 3. So I will be considering range of 3 here. Print current fruits of index, that means fruits initially index value will be 0, fruits of index, so banana will be printed, banana. Next, so it will print as current fruit, banana. Next it will print current fruit, apple will be printed. So index value will be 1. Now index value will be true. 2, it will print current fruit is mango will be printed. Now index, so what is the last value? 3. So up to 2 it goes. After that it won't increment, it just comes out of the loop, right? So this is how you can use the range function in the loop. So in the while loop, as we are using the else statement, in the for also you can use the else. If you have any statements to be executed, if the condition in the loop, in the for loop is false, then in such case you can use else part. So I am considering numbers, searching for an even number in a given list is my program, right? So I have a list of elements, list of integers. So these are the list of integers. Name of this particular list is numbers. So what I am doing, num in numbers. So if I want to check a even number, I need to consider the particular value should be divided by 2 and the remainder should be equal to the 0. So that's why I am considering iterating variable as num in numbers within the list. So first num will be initialized with 11. So the condition 11 is a member of this particular list, condition is true, so entering into the loop. So within the loop I am checking with the condition, is it divisible by 2. If it is divisible, it gives the remainder 0, otherwise it doesn't give the remainder. So that's why the 11% to modulo 2 equal to 0 condition is false. So comes out of the list does not contain the condition is false. Here the condition is false. So it comes out of this statement and the list does not contain the even number will be printed. So when this will be printed, until this particular after all the numbers will be checked with this particular member of this particular list, condition is true, so they will be checked with this condition. If this condition is true, then it comes out. Condition is true, this will be printed. If the condition is false, the last statement will be printed, right? So all the statements, all the elements of this particular list will be considered and they will be checked with this particular statement condition. That means if it is divisible by 2, it is a even. If it is not, then it is an odd. That means it is not an even number. So after all these values are checked with this condition, as all are not divisible by 2, so it goes to the else part and it will print the list does not contain a even number, right? So nested loops, loop within the another loop, we call it as a nested loop. So here whenever you want to display some multiplications, or if you want to perform some bubble sort, any sorting, or if you want to go with a searching, any application where there might be the possibility of using multiple loops. So there might be possibility of using loop within the another loop. So that's why we go for the nested loop. So simple example for displaying multiplication table from 1 to 3. So first one table, second table and third table. 3 tables I have to print. So multiplication table will start with into 1 and it ends with into 10, right? So 1 into 1 up to 1 into 10. Next 2 into 1 to 2 into 10. 3 into 1 to 3 into 10. These are the values I need to print. From 1 to 10 I have to iterate. So and then number multiplication tables of 1 to 3. So at the top I am considering the range as 1 comma 4. So the starting value will be the 1. As it is not starting with the 0, I am mentioning the starting value. Next end value up to which table I want to display? I want to display up to third table. So that's why the end value should be always whatever the end value you have in your program statement plus 1 you have to mention in the range, right? So next I have to iterate the multiplication table. So from 1 to 10. So that's why here within the inner loop I have considered 1 comma 11. So 1 into 1, 1 into 2, 1 into 3 up to 1 into 10 I have to go. So the last value I have taken is 11. Right? So k equal to I into j. What is the k value? So 1 into 1 is 1, 1 into 2 is 2, 1 into 3 is 3, 1 into 4 is 4. So the j value will be changes all the time. I value will be fixed. Up to j value is 10, the I value will be fixed. If the j value go beyond, that means if this condition is false, then I value will be incremented. So initially what it do is I equal to 1, j goes to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and I into j value will be calculated and it will be printed. So here in Python the print function will print the new value in the next line every time. So if I take like print hi, right? So next I have the same print statement. If I take like print hello. Now if you are printing using 2 print statements and if you are printing 2 values, so it will print the output as hi in one line and hello in another line. But if you want to display the values side by side but not in a line by line fashion, then in such case you will be using end equal to quotation, end equal to quotation, which will append a space instead of a default new line. So the print will be having a default new line within it. So in order to have the space instead of a new line, if you want to have a space in between the values using the print, then you have to use end equal to. Here what will be the output here? So I have taken the first, it will print first table and then this print will will help us to go to the next line. So after printing this particular all the values of the first table, it goes and it will wait in the next line because of this print statement. So it will wait again. What it do? So I value will be again initialized. Now it will be initialized with what? 2. So the 2 is within the range of 1 to 4, the condition is true. Now again j will be iterate from 1 to 10. The second table will be printed for me side by side. For this side by side I have to consider end equal to quotations, and for the next line printing, each table in the new line for printing for that particular purpose, I'm using this print statement, right? So this is a simple example using the nested loops. Thank you. And this is all about the loops in Python. So